Hello students. In this lecture, we'll discuss the last concept around singular value decomposition, which is also related to the dimensionality reduction or what we call as matrix approximation. Now, in our previous videos, we have learned that we can decompose any matrix A into the order of U sigma V transpose, where U could have dimensions of M cross M, sigma could have dimension of M cross N, and V transpose would have dimensions of N cross N. Also, in our last lecture, we learned about the rank, that you can ignore all the elements that would not have any non-zero eigenvalues associated with them in sigma and approximate it M cross R, sigma R cross R, V transpose R cross R. And in today's lecture, we will be dealing a lot with this R, what we call as the rank, to come up with the K rank approximation. And what this K rank approximation means, let us try to understand this with help of an example. Now, I have taken this example from our book, Mathematics of Machine Learning. And what we will try to do is try to come up with a lower dimensional approximation. Now, I'm sure that it is clear to you that dimensions is basically number of independent vectors that we need to completely describe a vector space. And in the case of images, we are essentially dealing with the collection of data. So for example, what we perceive as an image, you can always think of it as like the collection of multiple pixels, and each pixel is having some brightness value associated. And if we are talking about the grayscale image, we can characterize this entire image using the intensity towards black or intensity towards white and so on. So basically, computer would see this image as the collection of numbers which are arranged in some size of, let us say, M cross N. And now the question arises, do we really need entire information in this image to come up with some approximation, or there exists some concepts to which we can map this image and have a lower dimensional visualization? We also call this particular transformation, that is from fine resolution image to coarse resolution image, as the problem of upscaling. In climate world, downscaling would mean we are going from a coarser resolution to finer resolution, and the opposite would be upscaling. Whereas in some domains, the terminology is exactly opposite, where downscaling refers to getting a coarse version, whereas upscaling refers to the finer version. But the point here is that we want to reduce size of this image. We want to use less number of features and identify some concepts that can help us reconstruct this image. So what we do is that we try to come up with some approximations. That is, the rank 1 approximation will try to capture some abstract feature. You see that there are certain bands, there are some horizontal bands as well as vertical bands. There are certain areas where the intensity of white patches is higher and so on. But you can clearly see that if you just look at rank 1 approximation, the lot of abstract features are captured, but it is nowhere closer to the image. Now, as we go towards the rank 2 approximation, or in fact rank 3 and rank 4 approximation, you see that the certain components of images is getting more clearer and clearer. Now you are able to detect some edges. You are able to discretely identify some objects, but you would never know whether that particular object is a tomb or it's a rock or it's something else. All you see is that some square form is coming up. And as we go towards higher rank approximation, that is rank 4 and rank 5, it is becoming apparently clear that, yeah, this looks like there are some images which look like rock, and here we may have a patch of grass, and on top we may have a sky, but still not that clear. But still we can see that as compared to original image, rank 5 approximation is taking us closer to the original image. Now, if these dimensions were in a few hundreds, let us say that M cross N was of size maybe 1000 cross 1000, if we are talking about an HD image, we can really approximate it using M cross R representation, where R represents just the rank 5 or the 1000 cross 5 approximation. That would basically convey the message without occupying too much memory space. And this also means that we have retained the meaningful information and able to reconstruct or get closer to our image. Again, you see that there is definitely going to be an error associated between A and the approximate image, and we call this error as the difference between actual image, which we call as A, minus the K rank approximation of the same image. In today's lecture, we will try to see that how to come up with this K rank approximation and how to calculate losses, and what is the guarantee that this K rank approximation derived using singular value decomposition is indeed the best approximation. Now we define we'll come back to this example, but we define the K rank approximation as multiplication of ith column of our U matrix that we get after SVD decomposition multiplied by the VI transpose. That would mean the ith row of V transpose, because we are already taking the transpose, multiplied by the scaling factor which is encoded in the sigma matrix. And if we are talking about the kth approximation, we will take this I from 1 to k. So that would mean that if we are interested in calculating fifth approximation, we can write this as sigma 1 u1 v1 transpose plus sigma 2 u2 v2 transpose all the way till sigma 5 u5 v5 transpose. So this is how this fifth approximation that we saw in this image would have been derived. So what we will do, we will perform the singular value decomposition of whatever matrix we have. We will arrange our diagonal matrix in sigma in descending order. So whenever we are talking about the K rank approximation, we are strictly saying that sigma 1 has to be greater than sigma 2, has to be greater than sigma 5. And if we are talking about certain cases where this could be 0, so we can say that sigma 1 has to be strictly greater than or equal to sigma 2, and so on. So under this condition, this will give us the K rank approximation. Now let us try to look this with the help of an example. This is the similar movie matrix that we discussed in our last video, but simplified. Now what we do, we calculate its M cross N decomposition or SVD decomposition. So U comes out to be this, sigma comes out to be this, and V transpose comes out to be this. Again, you can easily do this using the LA library in Python, which says that LA.svd of A should give us the components of U, sigma, and V transpose. Now, if we have to calculate the first approximation, what we will do, we will take this value and the size of this vector. This would be our U1, and we will multiply it by the transpose of V, or the first value that is occurring here. So basically the size here is 4 cross 1, and we will multiply it by 1 cross 3. So at the end we have the resultant size as 4 cross 3, and then we will multiply this particular transformation that we obtained, that is U cross V, by the first sigma. Now if we move to the second one, so let me color this also in gray. Now if we move to the second one, we will take U2 multiplied by V2 transpose and multiplied by this sigma, and we will add U1 V transpose sigma 1 plus U2 V2 transpose sigma 2, and if we are talking about rth approximation, we will keep on doing that until r sigma values, and that will help us reconstruct the image. Now the question arises, what is the mathematical guarantee that whatever approximation we are getting for that particular image is indeed the best approximation? So we'll not go into the theorem's proof, but this is a famously known theorem as Eckart-Young theorem. So Eckart-Young theorem says that, let us say that you have a matrix A and you come up with some K rank approximation as AK, then there should be some error associated with that K rank approximation. And if we are talking about here, in case of matrix, we talk about these as the spectral norms. So what we learned about as the norms in the case of vectors, same thing concept can be applied, but the name here becomes the spectral norm, and the definition is said to be that spectral norm of A2 is defined as whatever maximizes the multiplication of AX, or the L2 norm of this multiplication divided by the L2 norm of the x vector, and wherever we find the maximum x, that is defined to be the spectral norm. But right now we should consider the spectral norm rather than worrying about its mathematical complexity as measure of some distance. So this is some measure of deviation. So if two matrices are are exactly identical, their spectral distance should be equal to 0, or spectral norm should be equal to 0. That is, A minus AK would tend to 0. And if they are very dissimilar from each other, this has to be a larger number, and that's the interpretation of the spectral norm also. So Eckart-Young theorem says that the best approximation of AK that we can obtain that minimizes A minus AK bar can be only obtained from the singular value decomposition. And hence, we can also say that SVD that we learned is the best way to reduce the dimensionality if we want to come up with the lower rank approximation. And we have learned that this ranking is nothing but is also an indication of how many dimensions a particular matrix is going to have, because that would be the number of independent rows or independent columns that we would require to span the subspace. Now, with this, we see that how we started our discussions all the way from spans, subspans, and spans and bases, and ended up with working on a real world image that can help us reduce the data. Now, whenever you get to work on a data, you would typically working with M cross N matrices, where you will have some features here and you will have different samples here. Now, as soon as I have this M cross N matrix, you can always reduce the dimensions of this N to lower order R, and SVD may not be a bad start if you are working with some real data. In our link description, I will post links to some IPython notebooks where we have worked on the real world dimensionality reduction problem. So that will give you a fair amount of idea that how these problems are solved. With this discussion, we come to our end on the basics of machine learning from metrics perspective. And now we will move to the next discussions around vector calculus and try to learn that how optimization helps us in reaching the best or optimal decisions in the context of machine learning. Thank you.